So when I think about motivation, what I think about is mental wellness. Write that down, mental wellness. We got to get to a point in life where we just don't focus on physical strength. Like we all in the gym, we vegan, some of us, we eat right? We take care of our physical bodies, but we don't take care of the mind. And when the mind is messed up, everything is messed up. Like when the mind is destroyed, everything is destroyed. So number one, I wanted to tell the young players that, we got to take our mental and emotional fortitude. We got to take that serious. I'm going to be real. Probably just recently, I realized I was mentally ill. Like, what you saying? Like, flat out. My mother was 17. My father wasn't in my life. I lived on the streets of Detroit for 2.5 years. I lived in abandoned buildings. I ate out of trash cans. Like that was trauma. And my whole life I was taught like, you a man, be strong. Like you a man, you don't cry. Like you a man, be tough. Right. And I personify that. Like flat out, like my videos, I ain't telling nobody, you get to whine, you get to give up, you get to cry. I ain't on that. But I realized in my own personal life, like, you've been traumatized, bruh. You came into this life with a 17-year-old. You came into this life without your father. Like you came into this life without some of the skills that my son and my daughter got because my wife and I had been married 5 years before we had kids. So number one, when I think about motivation, I think about like, you got to be mentally strong. And what does that mean? It means that in Miles' case, instead of looking at dark times and looking at what you don't have, that's a mental illness. A mental illness is even when you got it good, you find a way to see the bad in what you have. A mental illness is even though the Lord has blessed you, you don't see what the blessings are. A mental illness is you don't have the ability to count on one hand all your blessings. And when you're still in the funk, you go to the second hand and you count. And so I started to become mentally strong. And I was able to look at, homeless ain't the worst thing that ever happened to you. Like you could be dead, right? So what do you need to do? You need to start going to church. When I started going to church, I started saying, oh man, wow, I see they going to college. All right, yep, I'm going to get my GED and go to college. I started looking at, the GED ain't the worst thing in the world because the GED opened up the 4-year degree. And yep, it took you 12 years, but you finished. Now you can go get the master's degree. Yep. Now you can turn the master's degree into a PhD. And so all of a sudden I was homeless because I was thinking about I didn't have my father. My mother was young. I grew up in a certain neighborhood. I didn't have certain advantages that everybody else had. So number one, and I want to stay on this one because like I said, this kid never cried. He never complained. And so one of the things we want to do with our young players is like really help them to understand that while you got to go out there and put the points up, at the same time, you got to make sure mentally you're strong. Because a lot of stuff is going to happen in life. And you got to make sure when you get hit, you have the ability to get back up. Real quick, I want to make sure when I say motivation, I'm actually talking about mental health. Yep. When I talk about motivation, I'm actually talking about, again, when I talk about motivation, I'm actually talking about, one more time. When I talk about motivation, I'm actually talking about, and how many of us, like for real, I know we hit the gym in the morning. I know we do that. I know we work out. We work on our games, but just being real, how many of us spend as much time on our mental health, motivation, like the ability to say, my favorite quote, never let a good crisis go to waste. My son, can you give me, Candace got the book. Let me see the book real quick. So mental health is, we are in a recession, right? That mental health, we're in a recession. Like as a speaker, I don't know if y'all know what this means, but as a speaker, they said something about social distancing. Rock my whole career. That's all I do. Thank you, son. That's all I do is speak. So in 2019, when we entered 2020, they really said my whole job was gone, right? I'm accustomed to being in the locker room or being on the field or being at a stadium or being out of the country, talking to 10,000, 5,000. My whole job was gone. So what does mental health look like? It looked like instead of me saying, man, I done lost my whole job. Like I'm used to making at that time $50,000 a pop. Like ain't nobody paying that for no Zoom. Mental health was relax, count your blessings, look within and see what can you do even though they've taken your main source of income. What could you do? And so for those 2 years, I wrote a book. I got a publishing deal, right? I wrote a book, right? They came to me, hey, we're going to pay you this much. I said, I'm good. I want a greater percentage. Like I'm betting on ET. Like flat out, I'm good. You ain't got to give me no nothing up front. I don't need no royalty. I don't need nothing. I just need a greater percentage because I believe I'm going to sell 1 million books. So during the recession, my mental health was like, yo, they've taken the one thing that you know, the one thing that you're good at. They've taken that away from you. I thought it was going to be 6 weeks. Then it was 6 months. Then it was a year. Then it was 14 months, 16 months. It was 18 months before I got back on the road again, right? Motivation is mental. Yeah, come on. Motivation is mental. Good. Motivation is mental. And we got to work on that. So being honest, how many of you in the room, you spend as much time on your mental health as you do in the gym or as you do playing basketball? Let me see your hand. Right? And it's cool, whatever. But I'm just saying, I got a kid who is dying of cancer. He knows he's going to die. He's swollen. This stuff is coming out. But every day when I see him, every day when I talk to this kid, he's still like E.T. I have nothing but positive things to say. That's because physically he was handicapped, but mentally he was strong. And so we got to work on our mental. So number 2, the role requires soul. So of course we got to be selfless with the sacrifice. You know, I'm walking up the streets of Vegas. I'm, doing my thing. People pulling me to the side like, yo, E, flat out. You know how bros are. They like, E, I don't take pics with grown men. You know how we do. Like, yo, sometimes you see celebrities, bro, and they kind of play you. So I want to take a pic, but I ain't know. I'm like, bro, let's take this pic, bro. They was like, E, thanks for all the videos. I was like, bro, that's what I do. That's what King did. That's what X did. That's what Garvey did. That's what Sojourner Truth did. That's what Harriet Tubman did. Like, that's what I'm on. The same way when you guys were young, and I don't know who y'all looked up to, but whoever it was, Dr. J had the rock, Michael Jordan had the rock. The same way when you get that rock in your hand and you feel that way, that's the same way I felt about Martin Luther King when I would hear him speak. Like, yep, I can do that. The same way when I would hear X lead a group of men, I was like, yo, I can do that. The same way with Marcus Garvey, when Marcus had, like, we going back to Africa and we got that pride. I'm like, yep, I can do that. So the same way you felt about that rock is the same way I felt about that mic. And I knew at a young age I could speak. And I was like, E, it just can't be about you. You got to be selfless.
What you do today, regardless of how you feel, is the foundation of tomorrow's success. So force yourself to make it happen. You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. We all have big goals, but sometimes it feels impossible to take action. What if you had everything you needed to push past obstacles and get things done? I'm going to share 10 unstoppable ways to force yourself to achieve your goals. You'll learn practical strategies to push past excuses, stay focused, and make real progress. If you're ready to take charge and turn your dreams into reality, let's dive in. 1, understand no one will do it for you when it's coming to rescue you. No one will build your dreams or pick you up every time you fall. It's on you. It's always been on you. This might sound harsh, but isn't it empowering? Your life is in your hands. Your future isn't determined by luck, but by your actions. Stop waiting for the perfect moment of a person. Waiting is a trap. The longer you wait, the harder it gets to start. Potential without action is worthless. What matters is what you do with what you've got. Ask yourself, what have you been putting off because you're waiting for someone else? The longer you wait, the heavier the weight becomes, and that regret will feel worse than starting today. Success doesn't come easy and isn't supposed to. The hard makes it valuable. When you force yourself to get it done, you build inner strength and prove to yourself you're capable of more. Excuses are comforting, but they don't pay bills or build legacies. What gets the job done is discipline, commitment, and action, all things you control. Stop giving power to excuses and give it to your goals. There will be days when you don't feel like it, but those are the days that matter most, separating winners from the rest. Motivation is unreliable. You need discipline. Discipline keeps you going when motivation is absent, getting you out of bed, keeping you focused, and making the difference between success and mediocrity. Take ownership of your life. Decide you're done waiting, done making excuses, and will force yourself to get it done. Start small if needed, but you must start. Take that first step, push through resistance, and build a habit of showing up every day. Your life is your responsibility. It's up to you to take action. Stop waiting, hoping, and relying on others. Force yourself to get it done because your future depends on it, and the rewards will be worth every ounce of effort. 2, commit to a routine and stick to it. It's not about effort when you feel like it, but showing up consistently every day, and that requires a routine. A routine isn't just a schedule, it's a structure, the framework that keeps you on track. It takes the guesswork out of your day. When you know what to do and when, you eliminate hesitation and the decision has already been made. You just follow through. Think about the most successful people you know. They don't win it. They have routines they stick to without fail. Routines create habits and habits create results. When you commit to a routine, you're building a foundation for consistent progress. Start by identifying what really matters, what will move the needle in your life. Write it down, making it clear. A solid routine starts with clear priorities. Make your routine realistic. Don't set an impossible schedule. The goal isn't to impress others, but to create something that works for you. Focus on consistency over intensity. Stick to it, as most people falter when initial excitement wears off. Don't be that person. Treat your routine like a contract you can't break. It's a commitment to your goals, and breaking it means breaking that commitment. There will be days when sticking to your routine feels hardest, but those are the days that prove you're serious. Eliminate distractions and set yourself up for success by creating an environment that supports your routine. If you're trying to focus, remove what pulls your attention away. If working on health, stock your kitchen with foods that fuel, not sabotage you. Track your progress. See how far you've come using a journal or an app. Seeing that consistency fuels your momentum. So don't beat yourself up if you miss a day. Life happens. What matters is persistence. If you slip, get back on track quickly. A missed day doesn't define you. How you respond does. Your routine is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. Proof that you are serious about creating the life you want. So make that commitment. Build your routine. Stick to it no matter what, because the results you achieve will reflect the routines you followed. 3. Acknowledge waiting only wastes time. Waiting is the easiest way to lose time, something you can never get back. Every moment you spend waiting for the perfect opportunity is a moment wasted. Nothing changes while you wait. Waiting doesn't solve problems, build skills, or create results. Action does. When you wait, you're telling yourself a lie that tomorrow will be better. But tomorrow isn't guaranteed. Waiting doesn't bring you closer to your goals. It pushes them further away. It builds procrastination. How much time have you wasted waiting? How many goals have you delayed? That pain is a wake-up call. You can't rewind the clock, but you can choose to move. Waiting often feels safe, avoiding failure, but it's really just delaying progress. The longer you delay, the harder it is to start. The fear grows, excuses multiply, and you stay stuck. Waiting isn't safety, it's stagnation. Think about what you want most in life. Waiting won't get you there. The gap between where you are and where you want to be can only be closed by action. Every day you wait is a day you could have spent improving. People wait because they're scared of failing. But fear doesn't go away while you wait. The only way to overcome it is to face it head on. Stop thinking you need everything figured out before you begin. Most people who achieve great things didn't have all the answers. They figured it out along the way. The process and mistakes teach you. Waiting for perfection is just an excuse to avoid the work. Time is your most valuable resource, but you cannot create more. So why waste it waiting? You don't have to be perfect to start. Just take that first step. One step leads to another. But none of that happens if you stay in the trap of waiting. The perfect moment doesn't exist. You must act despite that. Waiting robs you of potential, keeping you in a cycle of someday, but someday isn't on the calendar. All you have is today. Don't waste it. If there's something you've been putting off, do it now. Even a small action is better than no action at all. Acknowledge that waiting wastes time, freeing yourself from the illusion that you'll somehow feel ready later. Readiness isn't a feeling, it's a decision. Decide today you're done waiting and will take action. Your future self is counting on you to act now. Don't let them down. 4. Use your own pain as a driving force. Pain is powerful. Everyone faces it in many forms. Loss, failure, rejection, disappointment. Pain can either break you or build you, depending on how you respond. If used right, pain fuels you to accomplish things you never thought possible. Think about the pain you've experienced. Acknowledge it. Don't run, bury, or pretend it doesn't exist. Pain is real, and the first step is facing it. Most avoid pain at all costs, numbing it with distractions, but ignoring it doesn't make it disappear. It lingers, controlling decisions and holding you back. Instead of avoiding it, use it. Let it remind you of what you don't want to feel again. Let it push you to take action. Pain sharpens your focus, helping you see what matters, mistakes, and the lessons they hold. It helps you make better choices and set stronger goals. Pain can make you stronger if you let it. Every time you endure it, you build resilience. Every time you rise after a setback, you prove you're capable of more. Growth doesn't happen in comfort, but in the struggle. The most successful people faced pain. They failed and were rejected, but they didn't let it define them. They let it drive them. Use it as motivation to work harder and achieve more. One powerful thing pain gives you is purpose. When you've suffered, you know what it feels like to be at your lowest. Use that understanding to push yourself forward and help others. Pain can connect you with others. Don't let your pain be the end of your story. Let it be the beginning of a new chapter. Pain isn't a sign of weakness, but a sign that you're alive and can overcome it. When you use pain as a driving force, you take control of your life. Your pain doesn't define you, your response does. You might not have chosen the pain, but you can choose what you do with it. Let your pain remind you of your strength and the fire inside you that refuses to give up. Use it as a reason to get out of bed every morning and keep pushing. The pain you feel today is temporary, but the growth it brings is lasting. Wouldn't it feel incredible to look back and know that you turned it into something positive, that you used it as a stepping stone to become your best self? 5, eliminate excuses completely. Excuses are chains that keep you locked in place, silent killers of dreams and progress. They don't serve you, they only hold you back. Every excuse you make is a decision to settle for less, a choice to stay in your comfort zone rather than take control. When you say, I don't have time, you're really saying, I don't want this bad enough. When you say, I'm not ready, you're admitting you're too scared to try. Excuses are a prison. Be honest. Were your past excuses valid, or were they a way to avoid discomfort? Most of the time they come from fear of failure, judgment, not being good enough. But fear only has power if you let it. The moment you act despite fear, it loses its grip. Eliminate excuses by taking accountability. Own your choices, actions, and results. Stop blaming circumstances, people, or bad luck. Look at your situation and say, this is on me. It doesn't feel good, but it's empowering. When you take responsibility, you take control. Excuses often sound like logic. I'll start tomorrow, or I can't because I don't have the resources. But they're just a way to delay what needs to be done. There will never be a perfect time. The best time to start was yesterday. The second best is now. Replace excuses with solutions. Instead of saying, I don't have time, create time. Instead of saying, I don't know how, commit to learning. Eliminate excuses requires discipline. It's not easy, but necessary. Discipline gets you out of bed, keeps you focused, and pushes you to keep going. The more disciplined you are, the less room there is for excuses. Remind yourself of your why. When your why is strong enough, excuses seem weak. Ask yourself, how badly do I want this? If the answer is badly enough, then no excuse should stand a chance. Excuses are comfortable, but growth is not supposed to be. Progress requires effort, sacrifice, and sometimes pain. The rewards outweigh the relief of giving into an excuse. When you stop making excuses, you open the door to possibility. You start to see your true potential and realize that the only limits are the ones you place on yourself. Imagine looking back and knowing you gave it your all, that you didn't let excuses hold you back, and you didn't settle for less than you were capable of achieving. That feeling is worth every bit of discomfort along the way. Eliminate the excuses. Stop letting them control you and replace them with action, responsibility, and a commitment to your goals. The only thing standing between you and what you want is the excuse you're making right now. 6, push through the resistance with a strong mindset. Resistance is the invisible wall between where you are and where you want to be. It tells you to stop, quit, or give up. Everyone faces resistance, but how you respond separates the successful from the unsuccessful. To overcome resistance, you need a strong mindset that doesn't crumble under pressure, but rises to meet it. Resistance shows up in many forms: self-doubt, procrastination, and fatigue. Whatever form it takes, resistance tests your determination, and the only way to defeat it is to push through. A strong mindset starts with a clear purpose. Ask yourself, why am I doing this? Your reason must be strong enough to fuel you through the tough moments. A weak purpose won't overcome resistance. A strong purpose will. Another key is preparation. Resistance feels heavier when you're unprepared. If you're working on a project, break it into manageable steps. If pursuing a goal, have a plan. When you know what to do, resistance loses power. Your thoughts shape your reality. If you think I can't do this, you're already defeated. If you tell yourself I can handle this, you create a mindset of possibility. Positive self-talk retrains your brain. When resistance hits, remind yourself that you've faced challenges before and come out stronger. Focus is your greatest weapon. The more you focus on what needs to be done, the less room there is for distractions or doubts. Eliminate what pulls your attention away. Building a strong mindset also requires patience. Resistance doesn't disappear overnight. It takes time to develop mental toughness. Be patient with yourself, but don't let patience turn into complacency. Keep moving forward. Embrace discomfort. Resistance thrives on your desire to avoid pain, difficulty, or uncertainty. Growth comes from facing those things head on. The more you push through uncomfortable situations, the more resilient you become. Sometimes resistance feels strongest when you're on the brink of success, the final test to see if you're truly committed. This is when most people quit. Dig in and push harder. Remind yourself that every ounce of effort brings you closer to your goal. Surround yourself with people who inspire strength. Seek out those who challenge you, encourage you, and remind you of your potential. Having a support system can make all the difference. Practice gratitude to strengthen your mindset. Resistance often makes you focus on what's lacking, but when you shift to appreciate what you have and the progress you've made, it's easier to stay motivated. Pushing through resistance is a choice. It's not easy and it's not always enjoyable, but it's necessary if you want to achieve your goals. A strong mindset means you don't let it stop you. Choose to act even when you don't feel like it and refuse to give up even when it's tough. Resistance is temporary. It feels massive in the moment, but it's just a hurdle. The more you push through it, the stronger you become. 7, remove distractions from your environment. If you want to achieve anything significant, you need focus, but focus is nearly impossible if you're surrounded by distractions. Distractions steal time, energy, and attention, pulling you away from your goals. The key to pushing through resistance and getting things done is creating an environment that supports your focus and productivity. Understand that distractions are everywhere: noise, people, digital devices, or even your own thoughts. The world is full of things competing for your attention. Recognize distractions as obstacles between you and success. Start by evaluating your physical environment. Are there things that distract you? A cluttered workspace, a messy room, or an uncomfortable chair? Make your environment conducive to concentration. A clean, organized environment will help you stay focused. Next, look at digital distractions. Your phone, computer, and other devices are full of distractions that can steal your focus. It's time to set boundaries with technology, turn off notifications, close unnecessary tabs, and set designated times to check emails or social media. When you're working, be fully present. The people around you also contribute to distractions. Let people know your focus is important and you need time to work without distractions. Find a quiet space to work, away from those who might pull you into other activities. It's okay to set boundaries. Your time and energy are precious. Sometimes distractions come from within. Your own thoughts can pull you away, worrying about the future, stressing about what's not going right, or getting lost in negative thoughts. That's why mental clarity is important. Meditation, mindfulness, or simply taking a moment to breathe can help. Creating a distraction-free environment doesn't happen overnight. It requires discipline and commitment to your goals. But once you start removing distractions, your productivity increases, your focus sharpens, and your progress speeds up. One powerful way is to schedule your time. Time blocking is a technique where you dedicate specific periods to certain tasks. It helps you stay on track. When you know what you need to be doing, it's easier to stay focused. The more structured your schedule, the less room for distractions. You can also use tools to help you stay on task. Apps that block distracting websites or productivity timers can help. Another important aspect is setting clear goals. When you have a clear sense of purpose, distractions lose their power. You know what you're working toward. Rest is also important. Overworking is a distraction in itself. Make sure to take regular breaks and get enough sleep. A well-rested mind is more focused and effective. Creating a distraction-free environment is not a luxury, it's a necessity. If you want to succeed, you have to guard your focus fiercely. When you control your environment, you take control of your results. 8, use the pain of inaction as a motivator. Inaction eats away at your confidence, your future, and your potential, causing regret, frustration, and the feeling you're not living up to your true potential. There's no pain like the pain of knowing you could have done more, but you chose not to. Inaction is a slow burn. It builds up over time and you feel it. The longer you put something off, the harder it becomes to act. You start to feel stuck, trapped in the comfort of doing nothing. That comfort is a lie. It's the comfort of avoidance, which comes at a steep cost. The pain of inaction is the pain of missed opportunity. Each moment you sit on the sidelines is a moment you'll never get back, and that hurts. The pain of inaction is not the absence of effort, but the quiet realization that you could have done more and you didn't. Use that pain as fuel. Let it push you. When you feel that sting of regret starting to creep in, use it to remind yourself of the stakes. It's about avoiding the deeper pain of wondering what could have been if you'd only acted sooner. The longer you delay, the greater the regret. Inaction leads to complacency. You start to accept things as they are, which is dangerous. Complacency convinces you that your current situation is good enough when you're settling for less than you deserve. The pain of staying the same is something you'll feel deeply. It's a reminder that you're capable of more but choose to do nothing about it. Look at the consequences of inaction. What will your life look like a year from now if you keep waiting? In 5 years, 10 years, will you be further ahead or stuck with regret? Instead of looking at the effort required to act, look at the consequences of inaction. That's where the real motivation comes from. Embrace the pain of inaction. Let it fuel you. Let it drive you to take that first step. Even when it feels impossible, the discomfort of acting is nothing compared to the discomfort of regret. You can't get there if you're too afraid to take that first step. So feel the pain of not acting and let it be the fire that pushes you to move forward. When you feel the weight of inaction, remind yourself of the bigger picture. You're building a future worth fighting for, and you must leave the comfort of inaction behind. You must use that discomfort as motivation, not as an excuse to stop. There will always be reasons to wait and put things off. But those excuses are just distractions from the real pain you're avoiding, the pain of realizing its time is slipping away and you're not doing anything about it. The pain of inaction will never go away on its own, but the pain of action will fade and you'll be left with the satisfaction of knowing you took control of your future. Don't let it control your life. Use the pain of inaction as your greatest motivator and let it ignite the fire inside you to keep going, pushing and moving forward. 9, remind yourself of the end result. When you're in the middle of a task, it's easy to lose sight of why you're doing it. The grind becomes overwhelming and the road ahead seems long and unclear. If you want to keep pushing forward, you need to stay connected to the end result. That vision of where you're going is your fuel. Think about what success looks like to you. Visualize it clearly. Picture the life you've always wanted, the achievements you're working for, and the fulfillment you'll feel when it's done. That should be at the forefront of your mind. When the effort feels too heavy, bring that vision back into focus. It's a reminder that every bit of work you put in now is getting you closer to something bigger than today. When you lose sight of your goal, doubt and frustration creep in. You start to question if it's all worth it. But it always is. Every step you take brings you closer to where you want to be. When things get tough, focus on the results, the person you'll become, the doors that will open, and the satisfaction you'll feel. It's not just about the destination, it's about the person you will become in the process, the strength you build, the skills you develop, and the confidence that grows inside you. When you remind yourself of that, the pain of effort starts to feel worth it. You're becoming someone who doesn't back down. Make your end result so clear it drives you. Think about how amazing it will feel to know that you did everything you could to achieve it. The satisfaction of finishing what you started is one of the most fulfilling feelings in life. They'll let that remind you when things get tough. When you know where you're headed, setbacks become just another bump in the road. They motivate you to push harder. The end result is always worth the challenges. Understand that the journey doesn't end when you reach your goal. It's the foundation for your next steps. The person you become after overcoming obstacles will be stronger. So keep that vision of success close. Let it pull you forward when you feel like stopping. Success is the result of constant effort, focus, and consistent work. When you remind yourself what's waiting for you, the effort feels lighter and that vision keeps you moving even when you want to quit. Take time to really picture the freedom, pride, and accomplishment because every bit of hard work is part of that bigger picture. 10. Reward yourself for progress. People often forget the importance of celebrating small wins. They wait until the big goal is achieved before allowing themselves to feel good. But you need to acknowledge every step, recognizing that every bit of progress counts. The path to success is made of small, consistent steps. Every time you complete a task, finish a chapter, or reach a milestone, it's a victory. And those victories add up. Rewarding yourself isn't complacency, but staying motivated and maintaining momentum, reinforcing behavior that leads to success. When you recognize your progress, you celebrate your commitment and remind yourself that the effort you're putting in is paying off. Small rewards keep you going when the journey feels long or difficult. When you hit a small milestone, don't brush it off. Take a moment to appreciate it. Give yourself permission to feel proud. The key is consistency, not after every task, but every significant step forward. The more consistently you recognize your progress, the more motivated you'll feel to keep pushing. Celebrating small wins keeps you grounded and allows you to reflect on how far you've come, boosting your confidence. Rewards also help keep your mind positive. If you focus on what needs to be done without giving yourself credit, you'll start to feel overwhelmed. Rewarding yourself gives your mind the break it needs to recharge and refocus. This isn't about indulgence, but balance. Rewarding yourself also builds the right habits. When you associate progress with positive reinforcement, it becomes easier to keep moving forward. The brain loves rewards, so when you tie progress to something enjoyable, it reinforces the behavior. Over time, those rewards build the habit of consistently acting toward your goals. But remember, the reward doesn't always have to be external. The greatest reward can come from within, the satisfaction of knowing you gave it your all and stayed focused. Internal rewards are just as important and will help you build resilience. Never forget to celebrate your progress. Every step forward, no matter how small, is a step closer to your goal. When you reward yourself, you're reminding yourself that you're on the right path. The more you acknowledge your progress, the more you'll achieve. And that is worth celebrating.